The Colorado Buffaloes had a really interesting game yesterday against North Dakota State. I think a lot of Buffalo fans are highly disappointed with what they kind of saw yesterday, but after watching the tape, I don't think you should be as disappointed as you might have been yesterday. But we're going to talk about this game yesterday. So the official score yesterday was 26-31. It was a lot closer than I think a lot of Buffalo fans expected to ultimately be, but I do think that there's some issues that Colorado did show last night that can be corrected as we kind of go into this next week's game against Nebraska. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but first, let's talk about just the game yesterday. Shedeur Sanders looked phenomenal. I mean, to me, when I watched this guy's tape last year and I compared it to watching his tape yesterday against NDSU, this guy looked a lot better. He looked a lot more NFL-like. Let's talk about what that means exactly. So yesterday he was 26 of 34, 76% completion percentage, 445 yards, 4 touchdowns to 1 interception. But more than that, man, he had Colorado's offense going, right? Colorado's offense was incredible yesterday. You saw the playmaking ability with some of the offensive playmakers. Will Shepard, Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn. Jimmy Horn had a phenomenal game. But you saw that playmaking ability with some of these guys. You also got to see the offensive line. It's a completely revamped offensive line. The guy that impressed me the most is going to be freshman tackle Jordan Seaton. 59 snaps yesterday. All he gave up were 2 hurries, right? No hits, no sacks. The guy was phenomenal yesterday. And I might do a film breakdown on him if you guys want to see his actual tape in full, really analyze the little things that this guy did. Let me know in the comments down below, and we will definitely do a film breakdown of his. But overall, the guy was phenomenal. And it wasn't just him, right? You got the 2 transfer guards, Justin Myers, the UTEP transfer, as well as Khalil Benson, the Indiana transfer. Both guys had a phenomenal game. And you can just see the revamped offensive line. You saw the amount of time that Sanders had. Last year, Sanders was running for his life, essentially, right, on most plays. And today, yesterday was not the case. Right? Yesterday, Sanders had a lot more time. He was a lot more comfortable. And that allowed the routes downfield to develop a lot easier. Now, the offensive line didn't have a ton of success running the football, but to be fair, I feel like the Colorado Buffaloes did not commit to running the football as much as they shouldn't, right? You have all these weapons. The style of offense you're trying to run, you want to run more shotgun than you do under center. You want to, get 3-by-1, or you want to come out with no tight ends or running backs. You put all receivers out there. You're running that spread style offense. You're not expected to run the ball a whole lot. So with that, you wouldn't expect to have that same type of success running the football. But when it came to pass pro, Sanders was mostly kept clean. And even more than that, I felt like, North Dakota State might not have the greatest defensive line talent. They might not have the greatest defensive talent. But do keep in mind, NDSU is going to beat even some FBS schools. I know some people are going to say, hey, there were 4 FCS versus FBS games over the past, week 0 as well as yesterday's games. And the other ones all mostly ended in blowouts. But to me, when you guys think about the fact that NDSU has how many championships over the last 5 to 10 years? More than that, they're well coached. They produce NFL offensive linemen literally every year. They had 2 guys just from the last year now on the active 53-man roster. You have Cody Mock, who was a 2nd-round pick 2 years ago. Dylan Redunz, I think like 3 or 4 years ago. And then they have a left tackle who's supposed to be an NFL guy as well. So, NDSU has talent. I understand they're an FCS school, but they're talented. They're well coached. And I know Colorado may have struggled, but when you have all the transfers that you had coming over, when you have all the different coaching staff changes that happened over the last year, when you have all these different guys coming in and you have all these different changes, this is kind of what you would expect. NDSU is a much better team than is given credit for. There were a couple of guys on the defensive side that stood out to me. Levante Bentley looked really good against the run. I think he had a sack last night as well. Multiple tackles. He's all over the field making plays. PFF credited him with 5 run stops, which is really solid as well. Bentley's kind of been that guy for the defense, I feel like. Phenomenal football player. We'll see Bentley kind of how he develops over this season. Can he continue being that leader that the Colorado Buffaloes need on the defensive side? Pass rush was not great yesterday, right? I'll be the first to tell you guys, pass rush was not great. But to be fair, Cam Miller is a dual threat quarterback, and I felt like one of the things that the Colorado Buffaloes really wanted to do was They wanted to stop the run. And I felt like they did a really, really good job stopping the run yesterday. I felt like the defensive line did some good things against the run. NDSU really didn't have a lot of big runs from, like design runs from the running back, right? I know the quarterback was able to get out of the pocket and pick up yards on broken plays and those type of things. But true runs, right? NDSU is a team that wants to run the football. They want to run those A-gap power runs. They want to run those tackle pull out in front, right? That's what NDSU wants to do, and I felt like the Buffaloes did a really, really good job shutting that down. So, to me, shout out to the Colorado defense for being able to stop the run. Of course, pass rush was not great, but you do got to keep in mind, Cam Miller slows that pass rush down a little bit. So we'll see what can happen next week. I felt like one guy on the defensive side that did a really good job was Chidozie Nwankwo. I felt like he did a really, really solid job pass rushing. He had a couple of snaps where you saw him get loose. He was able to generate a little bit of pressure to the quarterback. He did have a sack yesterday as well as multiple run stops. But generally speaking, I felt like Buffalo could have done a better job. And also the play calling, man. The play calling was good, but there were some questionable moments as well. Like, the game was over at a certain point, right? You look at that final drive, the game was already over, and for some reason, you call a deep pass doesn't make sense to me, right? So there were some questionable moments on the offensive play calling side, but there were also a lot of really, really good moments. You had that 69-yard pass at Jimmy Horn by Sanders. Phenomenal play. The pocket was collapsing around this guy. He stepped up into the pocket. He made a beautiful pass as well. I felt like Sanders was on fire just across the board, right? He looked a lot more NFL ready to me than he's ever looked in the past. To me, Sanders is definitely going to be one of the top 10 picks as we kind of get into this next draft cycle. You got some offensive linemen that might be able to make it into the league. We'll see, who ends up coming out, who ends up not coming out. Justin Mayers is probably the guy that I would say has some NFL potential. We'll see, man. We'll see what ends up happening. I want to know what you guys think, man. What do you guys think? How'd you guys feel about that game yesterday? We will be covering the Colorado Buffaloes on this channel. I will be doing weekly videos. We'll also do some film breakdowns, so let me know which guys you want to see. Jordan Seaton's the guy that I kind of have my eyes on right now because, he's a freshman starting, week one of his college career, and he dominated yesterday, man. He was bullying people out there. So he's a guy that we're definitely going to be breaking down on this channel. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.